let's see what he's got. Guys, this is Nintendo Switch 2 physical game situation worse than we thought. Most require internet to download, which doesn't surprise me through these guys because that's his. So we'll figure it out and see what he's got to say.
One of the most controversial aspects of the Nintendo Switch 2 is the fact that some aspects of its physical media are going to be absolutely pointless, specifically referring to physical versions of games who have this label on them, the
Labeled Game Key Card.
Game Key Card label, because what this represents is a physical game card that doesn't actually contain all of the game data. It allows you access to the download and it allows you access to the game, but it doesn't actually house all of the data. So that means that when servers shut down the line, decades later or whatever, that game key card will be useless. Or as Nintendo puts it, game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. After it's downloaded, you can play the game by inserting the game key card into your system and starting it up like a standard physical game card. People are pretty pissed that so many games are going to sell physical media in the form of this game key card that is just a glorified digital game.
So, pause it at a weird spot. So basically, it's just like when you buy a game, it installs on your system, but you just need the game disc to prove that you own the game. Basically, what it is.
Wow.
Instead of physically doing that, so you download it probably digitally to your system, and then you just use the game card to verify that you own it. I assume
That makes sense.
But what people are realizing now is just
way too complicated now.
How just about every third-party game is going to be a game key card. Here's how Gematsu put it. Switch 2 game pre-orders have been up in Japan for a few hours, revealing all physical third-party games so far except Cyberpunk 2077 that are not Nintendo Switch 2 editions to be shipping on game key cards, which require internet to download the full game. And right here we have a screenshot highlighting some of the third-party titles we can expect in Japan on day one. All of them have the game key card label. It's in Japanese, but that's what it says across the board here. And yeah, this is quite the selection of titles that will force you to download games via the internet despite you purchasing the physical media, making the physical media itself kind of pointless, with the only potential use being if you want to resell the game key card, or if you want to lend it to somebody else. But in terms of the preservation aspect and you having autonomy over your ability to access your media forever, that's the part that is compromised. Less and less we're owning the content that we purchase, and not owning, the actual IP, but owning the ability to access the product that you purchase. That is disappearing with the digital age, and with physical media either just not being as important as it once used to be, or having alterations like this, like the game key card, that renders the physical media itself pretty much pointless for its intended purpose. And the situation isn't much better out here in the West, with IGN reporting that only 4 third-party Switch 2 games are seeing a physical release that are not game key cards. Those are Cyberpunk 2077, Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion, Rune Factory, Guardians of Ozma, and No Sleep for Kaname Date from the AI The Somnium Files AIBA edition. It is worth noting that the situation is worse in Japan. There are some games that in the West will not be game key cards when it comes to their physical release, but in Japan they will be. So games like Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion and No Sleep for Kaname Date from AI The Somnium Files AIBA edition, those games, the physical editions in the West, are not game key cards, but their Japanese counterparts, you can see Daemon X Machina will be game key cards. Same thing with the Kaname Date game right here. It will be a game key card. And yeah, I mean, if you go to GameStop right now and look at the games here, you can see that all of this is holding true. Nintendo first-party games and Cyberpunk 2077 and 1 or 2 games like
trying to block
Rune Factory, Guardians
screen.
of Ozma,
so
and
bright.
Daemon X Machina, Titanic Sign, and the Kaname Date games aside, the rest are
now
going to
you
be
really
game
need those
key
sunglasses
cards. So you can see right here, scrolling down, Yakuza 0 is going to be a game key card. Street Fighter 6 game key card.
Isn't it that one guy Laredo from
Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition will also be a game key card. Then going to the next page, you'll find that Rhino Remastered is
All I
going to
can
be
see is
a game key
Cyclops
card. You
right
can
now
see it
from
right here.
X-Men.
Bravely Default game key card, so on
And
and
then like
so forth.
Laredo,
And then
whatever his
adding
name is
insult
from
to
Star
injury
Trek.
is the fact that people thought that
Oh,
at the very
that's
least
okay.
game
Yep,
key
I know
cards
exactly what
It
you're
kind
talking
of
would
looked
about
get
like
rid
Mr.
of the
Guitar Man.
physical release model, which is just a box with a game code inside that
You ever
makes it
seen
a
him?
fully digital product
Mr. Guitar
without
Man?
even the
Yeah,
advantage
his
of being
name's
able to
Mystery
like
Guitar
sell
Man.
the game key card or being able to
Look
lend
him
the
up on
game key
YouTube.
card. We thought Nintendo was doing away with that with game key cards being a thing now, but turns
Oh,
out that is
yeah.
not the case, as
You
Split
got some thick,
Fiction
blocky
proves it,
shapes.
which is
Oh, yeah.
highly unfortunate given Joseph Ferris touts how consumer friendliness is key to him. Well, not with this release. I don't know if it was up to him or not, but either way, this is a situation where you're not even getting a game key card if you buy the physical edition of Split Fiction. You're just getting the code in the box, as some games did on the Nintendo Switch 1. As a Nintendo deal tweeted here, it
Hitting
looks
your
like
mama.
the Split Fiction Switch
Split
2
Fiction.
physical
I'm gonna
release
split
is a
fiction
code in
your
a box,
mom.
but the notice is in French. And then there are other games like Sonic Shadow Generations, which is not only getting backlash because of the fact that it's a game key card, there's also a Nintendo Switch 1 game, so people would assume that
You know, I wonder. This is why we can't be game journalists. Doesn't make any sense. It's like we'd be like, trying to be all serious, you know, like Nintendo's charging $80 for fucking Super Mario, was it Kart World or whatever?
Mario Kart World, yeah.
Bastards, it's horrendous. You're like,
Outrageous.
buy it, fuck them.
well, with Sonic Shadow Generations, not only is the physical edition a game key card, it also says right here that the Nintendo Switch version cannot be upgraded to the Nintendo Switch 2 version, and the same applies to DLC. So if you bought the game on Switch 1 and want to upgrade to Switch 2, then you are forced to repurchase the game all over again to be able to take full advantage of the version of the game that takes full advantage of the Switch 2 hardware.
full
Really,
full
the
advantage
only
of me.
outlier when it comes to third party amidst this whole situation is CD Projekt
That is
Red
pretty
with a
crazy.
commitment to release Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition's physical version on a regular game card, the whole game packed inside, and not just the base game, but also the DLC, and they're doing that across all regions. They're not doing, some regions game key cards, some regions regular cards. Across all regions that this game's coming out on, it's going to be physical media that is actual physical media, the regular game cards that actually allow some semblance of ownership over access to the media that you bought. But yeah, people were already upset that game key cards are a thing at all. Now people are even more upset because they didn't realize to what extent game key cards would dominate the physical games space. Turns out the majority of games, particularly from third party, will be game key cards. And so, people are kind of starting to get worried that physical media will become more and more pointless throughout the lifespan of Switch 2 if the trend becomes that they're going to go the game key cards route instead of what, CD Projekt Red is doing or what Nintendo first-party titles are doing in shipping their games on regular game cards. So Stealth right here, for example, tweeted, "Is it controversial to say I have a bigger issue with the game key cards as the dominant form of physical game delivery on Switch 2 than I do with the $80 games in general? I have a problem with both, but I would say that the bigger issue definitely is game key cards being the dominant form of physical games, because with the price point of games, you can either buy them used from other retailers or from, gray markets, or, there are ways in which you can wait to
I don't know. What do you think?
This is just such a weird way to approach video games in general, and I don't understand
As Nintendo,
why the need. And I thought they were going to be cross-compatible. Feels like they're forcing you to upgrade. I mean, like, at least with the Nintendo, like the Game Boy to the DS and the DS to the DSi, they had a transition, so you could cross-compatible the games, but I'm surprised they're not doing something like that for the Switch.
sort of.
At least until someone else comes out with a carryable console that's better.
Yeah.